Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, we in the house once again today. Lenny end zone in the building for the touchdown, taking the lead for the Eagles, one video at a time and dropping buckets for my Dallas Mavericks. We got a lot to talk about here. We're going to go over the free agency signings for Dallas. And as for the guests on my channel, finally, it's been a minute. Been trying to get this going here. And, as talks of diversity of fandom, pretty good concept here that we got going on. AK finally has made it to my channel, Eagles Uncensored podcast in the house. The Chicago Bulls fan with Eagles fandom. So I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this. So AK, it's good to have you on the channel finally, dude. What's going on for today?
Man, not much, honestly. It's just a pretty calm Monday here. Or wait, no, Tuesday. My bad. See, I'm already mixed up. Yeah, it feels like Monday. Every day is Monday. It's been quiet and calm here, just hanging out with the family and kids. And I saw on Twitter today we signed DeMar DeRozan, so I was excited about that. And with Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso, I'm hyped, man, for this year. So
the Bulls definitely aren't messing around, man. They're tired of being at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, being one of the lower grades in the food chain, so to speak, just being the prey to the top dogs and those predators in the Eastern Conference, with Milwaukee being one of those top dogs, and the Sixers were this past season, the Brooklyn Nets, Miami Heat were just in the finals not too long ago. So we're definitely gonna get into it. We already got some people in here. Philly Sports Podcast making an appearance. Robert in the house. Good to see you, sir. He just joined the 100 subscriber club. Shout out to the Philly Sports Podcast for that. The accomplishment has finally been achieved. So shout out to you. Bobby be killing in here already, taunting me about Luka being overrated. It's still happening, but we're not gonna pay attention to that at all. Big play. What up, BPS? He says hashtag boo, Mavs and Bulls suck. Okay, well, I mean. Well, the Lakers need to get every single veteran left under the sun, as they grabbed some I think Malik Monk went there, and I think they're about to grab Carmelo Anthony, and LeBron's not.
I don't need LeBron James to carry my team, dude.
I don't know. I can't imagine seeing LeBron in a Bulls uniform after the actual 23.
I don't want it.
Raced that franchise already. So
I would not want it anyway, bro. That would be a disgrace to me. You can't put LeBron in a fucking Bulls uniform after MJ. Like, that's fucking disgraceful. You can't do
that. Bobby B. Killen must be releasing false info in the chat, saying the Eagles released Fletcher Cox. Like, what is that? Come on, dude.
I don't know. I haven't seen or heard anything about it.
No, I haven't either. There's no way. Philly girl in the house. What's good? Good to see you again. BPS says, take care of Alex Caruso. I miss him already. He went to Chicago and got that bag. What, 4 years? 30.
It was 4 years, $37 million.
Man, yeah. Well, apparently, what is going on here? Bobby B. Killen, trying to say that just dropped on Twitter. I don't see anything involving the release of Fletcher Cox at all. I don't see anything regarding that. Must be
a riot in Philly if that fucking happened. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I don't. I don't see that happening.
You're not just going to release like a 30-year-old defensive tackle when he's still when he still has one of the top values at his position in the NFL. That's just ludicrous. That makes no damn sense. Jordy in the building as well. Good to see you, man. Jordy, you're gonna have to let me know about if you didn't already. I thought we talked about it with you guys losing Evan Fournier, and what the Boston Celtics have been doing. You gotta let me know on that. Jordy does the Fighter from 3 podcasts covering his Celtics, so make sure to check that out. BPS says we got Melo, Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn. We are, yeah. I mean, LeBron has said that before. Where he says that we're top heavy as bleep, and in that season they missed the playoffs. Well, LeBron was injured, but still, don't
Bobby, if it's true, man, DM it to me. You have my Twitters. Take a picture of that shit and DM it to me real fast. I want to see it.
He also says I want to see.
Because I'm on my phone.
Oh god, we're gonna go through this again, I guess. BPS also says I want to see both of y'all get the 200. I know, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Jordy does. Yeah, Jordy says it sucks to lose him, but I have a lot of faith in the guard spot, especially P. Richard, who has a deep connection with Ime Udoka, and that that's good to hear. That's good to hear. And he did get a lot of money. He definitely did get a lot of money, I think, from the New York Knicks. So, I mean, sometimes that's what it's about in free agency is getting that bag. Outside of the pay, the fit also has to make sense for the team. So, man, I mean, day one was a bit of a splash for a lot of teams. A lot of huge contracts have been given out, and for me to be covering the Dallas Mavs and going into 2021, what I have been looking for, I can't say I necessarily got it. Outside of the fact that I think the most notable so far was the team retaining Tim Hardaway Jr. It has been rumored that Tim actually turned down a 4-year, $88 million deal from the New Orleans Pelicans in order to stay in Dallas. So he took a pay cut of about $8 to $10 million. I think that's one of the important things that when you talk free agency, that you got to keep in mind. I just talked about that the fit has to work with the team. How well of a chemistry have you developed over the years with your teammates? Do you like the city that you play for, the fan base, the organization? You're at the end of the day, you're representing a professional basketball team, and it has to make sense from that perspective. Feeling how you belong on that squad, and I think that was the case for Tim Hardaway Jr. staying for the Mavericks. So and Luka Doncic also approves of it. He liked a post dropped by THJ on Instagram. Timmy's very excited to stay and give another 4 years in Dallas, and this was one of the impact signings, in my opinion. In order to keep Luka happy and maintain your relevance out there in Texas. So it seems we might got a camera issue again, AK. You froze up there, bud. Sounds like you're talking, but it's very muffled. All right. Let's see here. BPS going. I'm just relaxing. Yeah. I mean, 300 already. That's substantial, BPS. Just the other day you were talking about that you hit over 200 and you were like in the 230s or so, and you just it just keep just keep climbing and climbing. It's crazy. It's unreal. It's awesome. But yeah, I mean, as as AK comes back into the fold here for Eagles Uncensored. Yeah, there we go. So he's gonna add himself back in. There it is. But
Sorry about that.
no, no big deal. Just finishing up on the Tim Hardaway Jr. signing for us, and I mean, after explaining the whole means, if you got the gist of what I was talking about, I mean, you would have to imagine you would agree on the premise that I've stated in retaining Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, and it's very, it's very nice to see as well how much money he actually, how much he, declined to stay here. I mean, I think anybody would take it out for $10 million, but it just goes to show how much he loves the city. And then on the side of Chicago, the Bulls yesterday, the first move that they decide to make, outside of the sign and trades that they're in the middle of trying to execute. We know for Chicago that Daniel Tice is one of those involved. They still haven't figured out what they wanted to do with them yet. I think there's I think it's like in the $9 million range that they're playing with him. But the first thing Chicago decides to do is, their first sign and trade for that matter involved Lonzo Ball, of all people. And for the longest time, and I know other YouTubers talking about this, and one of them has asked Chicago to go after Lonzo for a long time, and now that he's finally here, he seems to be one of the more ideal partners that was available for this kind of transaction to put alongside Zach LaVine. So I have to imagine that you're very happy in that regard, and Zach finally getting a suitable partner next to him to help in that playoff push.
Oh, for sure, man. Like I know a lot of people, they sit here and they look, sure, he hasn't played a full season yet. He does have some injury things that, he went through. But, for the most part, though, 4 years, $85 million, his first, when he was with the Lakers, man, he was shooting like 31.5% in the deep. He was shooting like 43.7 at the line. And in the last 2 years, he's at 37.6 and 66.4. So if you surround this guy with some talent and some playmakers, it's only going to make his game better. So no, I really love the Ball signing. It brings a really good aspect to this offense. I know a lot of people are stressed about our defense, because it's like, well, where's your defensive players? But when you can say you have a top 5 offense, that really puts stress on the other team to score points. You know what I mean? So you can kind of get away with it, and but it just all depends on the chemistry. What these guys develop here over the off season and how good they truly can be. But man, I love the route they took and the playmakers they got for this team.
Yeah, appreciate Midnight's Anthem in the house. Talking down B Killing in there, telling him that his energy ain't it, and hit the X in the corner. I mean, we do these streams on our own time as much as possible. And if you're gonna come in here just to banter and yeah, sure, there's nothing wrong with trash talk. But if you're going to be beating a dead horse and repetitive about it, then you kind of kill things for not only the viewers, because they have to see what's going on in the chat, but it's just deferring the focus. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, appreciate people backing us up in the chat here. So Midnight's Anthem also says, keep it up, fellas. Appreciate you as well. I do need to get into it. I do need to get into a habit of having more moderators on my channel. I never seem to attach my I never seem to attach my stream on YouTube next to StreamYard. So I gotta get in the better habit of doing that. But you talk about chemistry for Chicago, and then, well, it seems the next thing that they decide to go and do, while another free agent was available, and this guy coming from the Los Angeles Lakers, where he used to be a former teammate to Lonzo Ball. And, in those early stages of Lonzo's development and, with him improving through New Orleans, and then he has, well, so it seems like 1 year. And so it seems like he only had 1 year with Zion Williamson and company. And while that's kind of depressing for Pelicans fans, he gets another chance to be one of those guys in Chicago alongside Zach LaVine. But sometimes you need to add players who they connect very well with, especially from a perspective of sharing bench minutes. And what I mean by bench minutes is the fact that another free agent becomes available, and Chicago decides to pounce on it, and they bring in a former teammate with Lonzo and Alex Caruso on a 4-year, $30-some-odd million deal. These two known each other from the Lakers. Like Lonzo, Alex is an up-and-coming type of guy that's scrappy. He's going to play defense. He gives you quality minutes off of the bench. He sometimes he can fly above the rim, and he caught some of the Lakers fans off guard a couple of times. I remember it was a putback out of nowhere. He slams down against Golden State. Kevin Durant wasn't ready for it. The whole Lakers bench exploded, like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
So when like we said, when you talk about chemistry, that was another nice move that Chicago was able to do, and surrounding their new players and existing players with familiarity in terms of who the guy that they're bringing in. So it seems like that you got a good tandem to work with between Lonzo and Alex Caruso.
Yes. Yeah, no, they like you said, they have chemistry already. They played together, at the Lakers, and if they can bring that chemistry here and continue working on it, and that's only going to get better between them. And then today with DeMar, DeRozan, grabbing him, once they get that chemistry going with all three of them, man. And we got, like, what'd you say, it's like 19 and a half left yet to play with. Hopefully we can use that. Yeah, hopefully we can use that to retain Laurie, and if we can do that, man, this is a really good team. And you got Ayo Dosunmu that we just drafted. He's got some really good talent and high upside. And like I was telling you, we got Javonte Green. We got Dotson. We got Levine. We got Colby White, Patrick Williams, and we got Thaddeus Young. Like, these are some really good guys here that can play behind these guys that we brought in. So sky's the limit for this team, man. We were 31-41 last year, and we just missed it by one slot, and I think it was like 3 games we were off. So, realistically, there's no reason why we should miss this year.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't keep up with the Bulls very much, but I've done enough homework to talk about it. Outside of my not expertise, but playing basketball as a child, and throughout my life. I mean, that's another important factor that you have to consider here is the idea that you need to build a good core of players around your top impact guys, and that's the direction that Chicago is trying to take. that Chicago's trying to take here, in regards to them still having Zach LaVine, and then you give him a mid-range deadeye type of guy in DeMar DeRozan who can take you off the dribble. He's a good shot creator. He can play against, he can play against you above the rim, and he's only 32 years old. He's a little bit outside of his prime, but he can still play. And his last year in San Antonio was one of his best years of his career. And at this point in age, he proved that he was one of the most important cogs in that Spurs offense. He was, for the most part, he was really all San Antonio had left. Outside of Patty Mills, who actually is also gone, he goes to the Brooklyn Nets on a 2-year deal. So now the Spurs are, I mean, are they really in a rebuild type of atmosphere? Yes and no. But right now they have to build up their young talent. I mean, Rudy Gay is still there. He's probably close to retirement. And, they got a lot of work to do. And the same goes for the Houston Rockets. They're both in a similar position right now. But teams like Chicago, teams like Miami Heat, and the Lakers. Everyone's trying to bulk up and go on a run again. So man, this is what a distraction in the. What a distraction in the chat right now, man. Like you really gonna do that? You really gonna do that? All right. Let's get this man's out of here. Well, I think I put him in timeout. So yeah. Gotta get rid of
man. And it's like you said with DeMar. Last year he was getting 21.6 points per game. So he puts up some points, and in the last 8 seasons he's had 20 points per game.
Yeah.
In 8 seasons, so he scores. He's a solid third. Or however you want to look at it. The point is he puts up points. You can almost guarantee 20 points from this man every game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he can play the 2 and the 3 spot. He's got that versatility to do it. He's a bigger guard. I think he comes in about the same size as Luka. They're both about in 6'5" to 6'7" range. Luka's 6'7". I think DeRozan is built like 6'6", 6'7". So he's got that capability. And
Yep.
you guys look like you have a big 3 going on. Not a big 3 in terms of superstar talent, but it's star
the potential
talent.
there.
It's a start for you guys to be in playoff contention again. You got a little bit of security around Zach LaVine, but I think one of the key decisions you guys have to decide to work on is the future of Lauri Markkanen. Now, he's he's still a young dude in this league. I think he's only about 24. And he reminds me of Porzingis in a sense, but of a lesser skill set, but they both have injury concerns. And that's definitely something that you have to consider in terms of the disruption of his development and and how he plays on the court with his teammates. So I mean, this is the thing here. Do you guys feel that you have the proper depth to where being Lauri Markkanen is a restricted free agent, is Chicago going to end up kicking the tires here and seeing what they can get for him if they feel that they can move on from him? In the case that maybe Nikola Vucevic right now is enough. I mean, I think that's what you got. I think that's one of the biggest questions that you guys have working with right now, outside of, getting a contract ready for DeMar DeRozan.
No, man. I think I don't want to go as far to saying like this doesn't work without Laurie. You know, but I know if we would retain him, it would make things possibly easier. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I'm on the same premise right now with Kristaps Porzingis, and I know we gave him the. I know he's got the price tag on him right now, and Chicago doesn't necessarily have to worry about that, but they're going to when the time comes when it's time to give him that contract. I mean, these are the decisions that these are the decisions that you're going to eventually have to make, just like in year 2 of Carson's career when he was still an Eagle, and you see him going through that double ligament tear in his knee, and Philly ends up giving him the contract anyway, hoping that he's going to come back to form. Well, this is a similar case here, where you're trying to balance the, figuring out what his longevity is with him already succumbing to injuries at such an early age. How is that going to impact him in the future? What is he worth to the Chicago Bulls, for that matter? Is there other teams that may give him a better offer that he could be just as good of a fit? There's a lot of stuff to consider here, and I remember doing a video where, could Lauri Markkanen be a backup plan if the Mavs move on from Porzingis? And I felt that while it was possible, you're still downgrading at the same time, because Lauri would still be, he would still be due for a contract, for one, and two, he hasn't given you the kind of production that Porzingis has over the years. Stemming from the fact that we've only had KP for the last couple of years. He hasn't been relatively healthy, and that's one thing, you got to keep in mind, in terms of building a chemistry with your teammates. Like, if you're not on the floor, then what's there to figure out? Like, you can't do that in practice. You can't do that in practice. You can't do it outside of regular season games. And it's also tied into us watching training camp for the Eagles. Yeah, they're putting the pieces together right now, but we're still going to be in question on how that translates to the football field come week 1. Even in preseason games, how some of these second and third stringers are going to look in the preseason. This is the same principle, for guys that are going through injury troubles right now, in the NBA, what their ultimate fit is going to become. So you guys got a decision to make. You guys have a decision on your hands here, in terms of Lauri Markkanen's future, being that you already have Vucevic on your roster.
Yeah, no, I know, man. I just kind of, I'll put it in this terms. Like, this kid's only 24 years old. He's young. So I'm going to look at it in this sense. Maybe, the injuries stop here soon. He puts it all together and he starts playing the way he's supposed to be playing. I just don't know if I want to let him go because of that, and then him go somewhere else and end up being, like, if we could have just held on like 1-2 more years. Sometimes that happens. A lot of times that happens. You want to hold on, but then you just make the move to do it, just out of instinct, and you overreact and do it, and then they go on to be something really great. We've seen that happen. So I don't know if I want to be as eager to jump and just let him go because of how young he is. But if he's willing to take a deal, look kind of like how your guy did, a team-friendly deal to stay with us because of the potential that we have, and he can see, hey, I can win here, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, there was the risk of us losing Hardaway Jr., and it just makes it that much better that he was willing to do that for the franchise and stay here. Because, like I said, he knows his role here. He knows he knows his responsibilities, like what Dallas asks of him, and while that's not necessarily hard to replace, But the fit in general sometimes is difficult unless you bring in players of similar stature. Like, for example, outside of the Hardaway Jr. signing, which I'm in agreement with some other Mavs fans. I mean, this seems like a B plus to A minus signing for me. He's still in his physical prime at 29. I mean, again, we're talking guys in the point per game range of 15 plus. Them with their capability of being able to swap as a starter or an immediate impact guy off of the bench where they can swap to both roles. Sometimes it comes at a price, and they don't come cheap. And this is after Hardaway Jr. in his final year for Dallas was making almost $20 million. So you're getting the best of both worlds here, and it comes down to 3 points for me. One, he's very familiar. 2, Luka loves him. 3, he's here for 4 additional years under the same amount of the annual contract per year that he was making in the final year of his previous contract. He's only coming in at $18 million a year. I mean, it's for both sides. For both sides, it's a win-win to me. So, I mean, that's probably one of the happiest. That's like for me, it's probably one of the happiest moments so far of free agency was Dallas being able to retain Tim Hardaway Jr. because he could have easily went somewhere else and got more money. Like it was said, it was rumored that the Pelicans offered him more, and it made sense for New Orleans since they just lost Lonzo Ball, and they would need a guy like that to pair with Zion, and they still got Brandon Ingram and Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes is promising for them, guys like that, and you lose that kind of leader in Lonzo, they're going to need to replace him. But I am glad overall that Timmy is still here.
Yeah. No, man, I think, I've always had respect for the Mavericks, I always have. You guys seem to always find a way, You're always competitive. You don't stop, and you guys just need that continuity and that, connection over there. You'll get it. You'll find it. I honestly don't know what your missing piece is yet, or if you have one. If you have it all already, you just need to put it together, But I know it's got to be tough being you because there's so many years you've came close, and
Yeah, and I mean, it was a combination of front office decision making and free agency moves and trades and trades and whatnot, and and the problem is that a lot of Mavs fans right now are hoping that we don't get into that kind of complacency again, and I don't necessarily think so. They just know that the same thing happened to Dirk Nowitzki, and they don't want, and we can't afford, like in this day and age of the NBA, it's very hard to see players commit to loyalty to the team that drafted them.
Yeah,
we're already seeing it. We're now already seeing that it's happening with Damian Lillard, and Kyrie just bounces from team to team now, and Kevin Durant bounces from team to team. There's just no loyalty anymore, and that's one of the reasons why Dirk is so beloved in the Mavericks franchise, is because he he committed over 2 decades of his career to play for the team that gave him this opportunity, and he he stuck with his word that he was going to give Dallas a title. 2011, it happens. They beat the juggernaut Miami Heat with LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and that's one of the most massive, highlights of Mavs history and what Dirk has given to the organization. I love the fact that he's still here working in the front office, that we were able to do that for him. Jason Kidd is back as a head coach. It's rumored that JJ Barea might end up being involved on the coaching staff, and it's looking pretty beautiful so far. I'm not gonna lie, but we're so hell bent on wanting to keep Luka happy, so it doesn't. So like this not so much of an anti-loyalty NBA, because it still exists, but that seems to be it seems to be a consistent trend that we don't want that to happen. But again, as you very well know, with Chicago, championship teams aren't built overnight. It took Jordan 7 years to start his dynastic journey with Chicago. I mean, when he first came in as a rookie, those teams were terrible. we don't have to go into exact details. We don't have to go into exact details, but I mean, yeah.
Jordan was good though. The team itself sucked, but Jordan was good.
I mean, the man averaged 28 a game as a rookie. Of course he was good. but I mean, whether it was Orlando Woolridge or a washed up George Gervin, or you can keep naming players off the top of your head that Jordan was working with early in his career, and he still in his second year he takes a team, arguably they were like under 500 in the Eastern Conference, and that's when teams were still eligible to make the playoffs, based on a competitive standpoint, and he takes them to the playoffs against the Boston Celtics of all teams, those the 85, 86 Celtics, and he gets I think no, they ended up getting swept. That's right, but 63 points in a playoff game. So and the rest is history. Like my point. My point is, like I said, championship teams aren't built overnight, and I think Luka, as a growing player in this league, I would assume that he understands that, for one, especially for what he's doing for his country in the Olympics right now. Him in a Slovenia jersey, he's undefeated. Luka's undefeated, 17-0 when he's playing for his country, and I'm in total agreement with him that I have to imagine that if he wins a gold medal for his country, that has to mean a lot more than any NBA championship that he could potentially win. That's definitely true. I mean, the magnitude of what he's doing for his country is they were eligible for contest in the Olympics since 1932. This is the first time that they're playing for a medal. Let that sink in. This is a country with a population of only 2 million people, and he's doing that. So I mean, and I understand that he's not necessarily paying attention to what Dallas is doing right now, other than liking some Instagram posts of players getting re-signed, because all the focus is on him playing for his country, which in a couple of days from now they face France in the semifinals, and if they beat France, they're going on to, I think, to the gold medal game. So it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what he's doing. But man, I think in terms of our teams right now, we're both on the right path. I think we're both on the right path in improving the roster around our star players. And again, these kinds of kids, these kinds of guys in the NBA, they don't grow on trees, and you want to make yourself relevant for as long as possible. And Zach LaVine is still a young player. He grew up as a kid. He grew up as a kid in Minnesota. Ended up not really working there. He goes to Chicago, and now he seems to have found his place. And then with Luka, we're building for the future with him. How much the organization has dedicated, in loving the player that he is. So all we can hope for is that we continue to go down the right path and getting the getting the proper setup for our star guys in order to succeed.
No lie, dude. Luka needs his Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I got lost in conversation. I'm not ignoring the chat, LGB. What is up, everybody? Bird Gang in the house as well. Yeah, I seen LGB had a premiere. I think you won. I think you 1v1'd your sister in basketball. So I'll have to watch out. I'll have to watch for a couple of things there. Angel 3 in the house again, saying hello to the Lindy fam. Appreciate you. What else is going on? Wow, I really got a dislike. Well, I have to imagine who that dislike is from. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Wow. LGB spamming me right now. Jeez. Oh, you got called out. Okay. Birdman in the house as well. What is going on, man? Another one that entered the 200 subscriber club. Shout out to Birdman951 for everything that he's contributing to the content creator community for the work that he does. Oh, appreciate you letting me know that the like count is now over 10. That's awesome. I never really necessarily pay attention to the numbers, man, because I'm just here doing my thing. We're talking sports and whatnot, and yeah, while they're important at the end of the day, it's just the number is going to be what it is based on how well I do. So that's that's just the way I take it. But let's see, and I didn't even, and that's crazy. We're 43 minutes in. The stream's going pretty damn well. I mean, you have to be outside of your comfort zone a little bit in terms of your channel, where it's it's just straight up Eagles, but you're not afraid to show your Chicago Bulls fandom. And I mean, obviously, like most, if not all, Chicago Bulls fans, it's stemmed from Jordan, and there's really no other way to go about it, man. So I mean, that's cool.
No. Yeah, no, man, that's my childhood, dude. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Steve Kerr, Ron Harper, fucking Luke Longley. Like, dude, that I really hate Krause so much, but I love him too, because he did set up a good team. It's just he was a very shitty people person. You know what I mean? Like, when we decided not to pay Scottie Pippen is when we started to fall apart. You could see that team kind of unravel from that point, and it was wrong. I mean, you would not have these rings without Scottie Pippen. I will tell you that right now. Anyone will tell you that. But Dennis Rodman played his own part as well. Dennis Rodman, he was a monster on defense. We had the right guys at the right time, and everybody seemed to work good together. And I think our whole career since then, we've been trying to search for that again. And it's really hard to recreate that, because there is only one MJ, there is only one Scottie Pippen, and there is only one Dennis Rodman. I mean, So, but I have faith though in what we just did this off season. We can make it work. I'm not saying we'll be a contender for the championship, but we should at least crack playoffs. It gives us a solid foundation to go forward.
Yeah, I mean that's just all about what it is. Yeah, you can bring the players in, but as we talked about earlier, it has to make sense contractually, and it has to make sense, from a chemistry perspective, a fit. First and foremost, like the player has to be a fit to what your philosophy is, both on offense and defense, and I think in terms of the Bulls, they added much needed offensive firepower, outside of Levine and outside of Levine and Nikola Vucevic, who was a recent acquisition via trade. But outside of those two, now you bring in Lonzo Ball, who is not only can score, but he's a very good playmaker. He can set up Zach LaVine to allow Zach to play off the ball a little bit more. That he doesn't always have to take the charge. You guys, I think you guys still have up and coming talent. Like I think Wendell Carter Jr. is still there, and some of your young guys and stuff like that. That was my dog. You cut it out. I gotta watch him because he's working with an abscess on his back, so I'm trying not to allow him to touch it. But yeah, man. I mean, outside of that, and the direction of Dallas, the direction of Dallas after what they went through last year in the playoffs, and it was a very well known issue just watching them face the Clippers, is that they didn't necessarily have enough depth, and it was obvious to see. Man, I mean, I'm almost at a loss about it now. My dog decides to interrupt. You stop. But no, I mean, outside of that team last year, they decide to hold on to Boban. So for a cheap deal, you bring him back in, which was very good. It was known throughout the course of last year that the Mavs did not have necessarily good depth at the 4 and 5 spot. I mean, outside of Porzingis, Boban was still there, but Cauley Stein was up and down. Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber, one-trick ponies for the most part. So we get a guy in the exchange with Josh Richardson going to Boston. Moses Brown comes in as a nice project piece, a 7'2" big. We signed two, not really 3-and-D type of guys. Sterling Brown does have defense to work on, but he is young. He's 26. He came on for Houston, and what team did he play for last year? I don't remember. I think it was the Rockets. He played for somebody else too, but Sterling Brown comes in and on a bit of a surge right now. From 3-point range, he was averaging about over 40%. What are you doing? No one. Walker, calm down. Wish he wasn't going through that right now. But I mean, for people that are pet owners, I mean, obviously you understand, but adding Sterling Brown, adding Reggie Bullock, two nice moves that were made there. They both come in about 6'5". Bullock is a nice defender. They're both decent free throw shooters, which Dallas has also lacked in. They were towards the bottom of the league in defense. So you bring in two guys around 6'5" who can help defensively. It makes Dallas a bit of a bigger team and going for a taller stature of players. So I mean, these aren't splashy acquisitions for the most part here. They're not splashy, but at the same time they're effective, and I think that's the most important thing right now. So
yeah, I mean, it could be worse. We could have Ben Simmons on our teams.
I can't believe Ben Simmons was I can't believe Ben Simmons was even rumored to come to Dallas. Like, no way. I would not have wanted it. I would not have wanted it whatsoever. Y'all already know, if you follow my channel, I've already expressed my opinions on that. But no, I mean, Sixers fans are dealing with.
Philly girl, we're already friends on Instagram. Sorry.
Sixers fans are dealing with so much right now, though. They're dealing with so much. Let me see. Let me go through the chat. Birdman asks, who's a Bull fan? Well, your boy Eagles Uncensored, Chicago Bulls. that was part of the point. That was part of the point of the stream, is get another guy in here who's like me. That diversity of fandom is cool. It's cool. LGB Goes 200 Club is expanding, no doubt, man. We're still trying to push our way there. I think I'm 10 subs away right now from it. I know AK's approaching 170. We're on our way there, definitely. We're on our way there.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, at 200 subs, giving away a free vintage Eagles blanket. So definitely, if you have not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do so and get into that drawing for that Eagles blanket. It's a really nice one, and it's an old school logo, so it's pretty cool.
Figured I'd catch up on the chat for a minute here as well. I mean, we went already 52 minutes in. I'll probably close it up at the hour mark, so it gives us enough time to give closing thoughts. I mean, there's outside of the free agency signings, there's still nothing much else to talk about other than rumors of what we think our teams are going to do next. I mean, this is just the start of the offseason for the NBA, and how our teams are going to look come preseason, regular season. Summer league is starting right now, so now it's just about building your team for the better. But Nicholas Virgil asks, what do you think about the Lakers roster right now? The Lakers seem to be doing a similar thing to what the Cavaliers tried to do. The Cavaliers tried to do years ago, and then what was it? I think in 2019, the 2019 Lakers or 2020 Lakers, something like that, where LeBron was talking about that they're top heavy as bleep and everything. But it seems that with guys like I don't know what's going on with Dennis Schroeder. He might not return to LA. Alex Caruso is gone. Kyle Kuzma is gone. Montrezl Harrell is gone. Your guys are, you guys seem to be, the positioning right now for the Lakers is that they're trying to maintain being in win now mode so long as LeBron James is still there. And one of the best things that they can do is add a lot of seasoned veterans who not only have either played on LeBron's team or not only played with LeBron before, but understand LeBron as a player, even if you were an opponent against him at any point in time. The Lakers are full of veterans right now. Trevor Ariza, Dwight Howard goes back there. Malik Monk is a nice younger piece. They've done so much already that sometimes it's hard to keep up. And then they make that splash trade for Russell Westbrook, so trying to figure him out. The Lakers right now, they're trying to stay relevant in the championship push so long as they still have LeBron James. I mean, simply put.
Yeah, but how long is he going to last? That's my question.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if and again, this isn't to the same level at all, but Vince Carter lasted like what 22 years. He played in 4 different decades, and he wasn't nearly in the same physical shape as LeBron is right now, even though he's going to be 37. I mean, Jordan Jordan played in his prime up until he was about 35, 36, and he takes a couple of years off and he tries to come back for Washington. And while he had some underrated seasons, you knew his prime was behind him. And then, some of his old injuries started to creep up, and then he gets a meniscus tear, and he just wasn't the same Jordan that we were used to back in the Bulls days. But he was still contributing for a Wizards squad after he wasn't a part of the front office anymore. He still wanted to play ball, and it was Jordan who made the Wizards relevant enough for playoff pushes after them winning less than 20 games in consecutive seasons. So, but yeah, I mean, the point here is that LeBron is one of those anomaly type players where his prime outstretches the average of most guys in the NBA. So while he's still in that position, that's what the Lakers are ultimately doing, is surrounding him with as much talent as possible on cheaper contracts, to be able to maintain relevancy for the Lakers to push for another O'Brien Trophy while LeBron's still playing.
You know something else that fucking Jordan has over LeBron, man? He saved a franchise from going under. You know that the Bulls were actually going to sell the Bulls and get rid of the Chicago Bulls. They were actually deciding that when they drafted Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's the only reason that did not happen. Can you ever sit there and say that LeBron saved the team? Jordan fucking did. Like they were literally going to sell the team and get rid of it because there was no revenue in Chicago. It wasn't that big of a thing. I think they said they only had like 20,000 fans at one point. They weren't anything. Like he literally saved Chicago and made them what it is today.
As soon as he was drafted.
Yeah.
I mean, the friggin' Chicago Stadium was selling out. Revenue was through the roof. Like he just, I guess it's just, I guess it's like, replacing that dead light bulb, and now the room is lit again. And, that's what Jordan did for the city, for the city of Chicago. And they wouldn't be, that city wouldn't be as, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you wouldn't be as enamored by the allure of the Chicago Bulls, as you would be today if it wasn't for Mike. That's just simply put. LGB, speaking of other teams and troubling times, LGB's talking about we dealing with everything right now. Bum Simmons. Kawhi Leonard talks, and the rivalry between Andre Drummond and Embiid. So, so as LGB heads out of here, Lucas Hallman is in the house as well. Shout out to you, man. You just got home from practice. He just got home from practice. So keep balling, man. Live your dream. If basketball is what you want to do as a career, man, you got to keep pushing for it. But he asks, did we talk about Andre Drummond yet? No, we haven't. So this is the thing for Sixers fans that I actually seen on Twitter. There's Sixers fans out there that are bummed about them getting Andre Drummond. I mean, it's almost obvious that he's an upgrade over Dwight Powell. I can't even talk now anymore. But it's almost obvious that Andre Drummond is a upgrade over Dwight Howard. And and simply put, he's got age behind him for one. I think Drummond's only like 28, 29 years old. And yeah, while it's unfortunate that his career has gotten to the point where it is today, to where, for a guy that's supposed to be in his physical prime, is only getting vet minimum deals from other teams. It's just like, that's just not best case scenario if you're an NBA player. But what he does add to the Sixers is that he adds better depth. You're not going to have to worry about a guy that's pushing the envelope, about being one step closer to retirement year after year. He's got the age behind him, and while there used to be that Twitter beef years ago between him and Embiid, and how that used to be a battle. Come on, that was 3 years ago. I mean, you really think them two are in the same position now that they were, or have been over time? I don't think so. Or otherwise, the Sixers would not have considered this signing. Obviously, being that Embiid is one of your staple guys, your superstar guys, I would have to imagine that the front office would have to do their due diligence here and at least ask Joel if he's okay with this. Like I said, otherwise you're not signing Andre Drummond. So, but all in all, I mean, what he brings is he brings three important things. One, he can score at the 5 when you need him to, coming off the bench. 2, he's an excellent rebounder. And 3, he plays defense. So, and that's not to say Dwight Howard can't play defense. He has a tendency to foul too much. So whereas Andre Drummond, he's got age behind him, he's got youth behind him. He can be a little better as far as aggressiveness. And Lucas actually corrects me here and says that Andre is only 27. So that's even better. That's even better. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know where the downside is here to the signing. I don't.
No, dude, everything you said, I 100% agree with. I do. There's no way in hell that Drummond got signed without them knowing and talking to Embiid and him as well, and yeah, like I totally agree. Like that shit had to have been squashed before they signed him, and also, by the way, shout out to Birdman951. I did not know you were a Bulls fan, my guy, so that makes 2 Eagle fans that are Bull fans. That's dope.
Well, looks like collabs in the future for the two of you talking about Chicago. There you go. Imagine that.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
So, it looks to me as shout out to Jock Talk. He's back in the house saying what up to Lindy Legend is still relevant, man. It still is. Jeez. But he's shouting out to both of us on the panel here. Lucas brings up the question, which big three is better right now between Chicago or Miami? Now Miami's got Bam, Bam and Jimmy Butler. They locked in Jimmy Butler, and they just acquired Kyle Lowry. So you got your playmaker, you got your rowdy shooting guard who he's got that dog in him, and Sixers fans should know that about Jimmy Butler. They know that he's got that dog in them, and we know some Sixers fans would love to have Jimmy back, but I guess the history is what he is, and there's a reason why Jimmy left. This is still a tough question to answer, in my opinion. I don't know. I would think now this is just me. This is just me looking at it a little bit realistically. The big three for the Bulls was just created. They haven't played on the court together as a trio, for one. And 2, that's where I think the Heat have the advantage in this. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo know each other very well. So now you're just adding a seasoned veteran to the mix, and Kyle Lowry, who was a part of that championship team back in 2019 for the Toronto Raptors when they took down a injured Golden State for what it's worth. But Kyle was already in that position where even though that was Kyle's team, he still brought in Kawhi Leonard under his wing, and for for the chemistry that they have built on that championship team, and that's where it's going to come in for Miami with adding Kyle. So I mean, at this point, based on resume and based on chemistry and background, I would have to take Miami's big three right now. But from a longevity perspective, I think that's where Chicago has the upper hand here. The Chicago's three is relatively younger than, or it might even be about the same, because I mean, DeRozan's 32. Jimmy Butler, I think, is close to his 30s. Kyle Lowry's like 35, 36. It's very close, but I think Chicago, in terms of youth, has the upper hand in that case. But Miami, experience-wise and talent-wise, they may have it. That's a tough one, though. I like that question. That is a tough one to me.
What kind of Bulls fan would I be if I said it was them? So you know what my answer is.
Of course. Oh man. Yeah.
No, but it's like I told you though. I mean, Lonzo and Caruso, they have a little bit of chemistry, so it shouldn't be hard to build off what they have. And if they can get DeRozan on board and they can, add him in there, it should be pretty good, But hey, I do agree, they definitely do have the more experience because they've been together longer. But you can build chemistry pretty fast, especially if it's three guys that like playing together. It just all depends on them and how they all see the game. If they see the game the same way, it should be pretty easy.
Yeah. So I mean, to see if anything is let's see if anything is going on Twitter here before I guess I can close up the stream. But I mean, there isn't necessarily much else to talk about. I mean, we already went through the signings so far of both teams, and it's obviously very, very early. I mean, yeah, that's true, Lucas. If you want to put Vucevic in that big three with DeMar and Zach, yeah, you can do that too. But yeah, I would not discount Lonzo Ball either. But I mean, in terms of, I guess if you add Lonzo in there, it's in terms of a backcourt perspective, because all three of them can start out of the backcourt. But Vucevic does add that. He does add that like inside presence for them. So yeah, that's true as well. Let's see here. I don't think much else is going on. Okay, so we got a couple of things here. The Lakers waived forward Alfonso McKinney. He is set to enter free agency as an experienced wing player after his fourth NBA season. So that's somebody else that becomes available. It looks like the Lakers are just making room on the roster for for whatever it is. But they waive another player. The center
Hey, I actually do have a question for you, if you don't mind, before we get out of here.
Go ahead.
The restructures that we did with Lane and Barnett, do you feel that's just to free up space, or are we actually going to do something with it? Because in my opinion, bro, we were looking at supposedly Alshon as a veteran wide receiver. I don't like that one bit, dude. I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't mind Larry Fitzgerald. if we brought in any veteran, and you could bring in Fitz just as a rotational thing. You could give him like 10, 15 snaps a game. He wouldn't need much. He doesn't ever ask for much, That's what he did in Arizona. So you can still play your young guys, and he can help mentally develop them. But
I doubt Fitz leaves the Cards, man. I don't.
He's a free agent. He's
Wow.
a free agent right now. That's what I'm saying. So you could get Fitzy. You really could get Fitzgerald for cheap and bring him in behind these guys.
I mean, there has been relevant talks of the Eagles still trying to bring in a veteran wide receiver, and it does make sense for a young, inexperienced core. As much as we wanted that for Carson, well, for what it was worth in 2020, that's when he actually first got it with some of those young drafts. Some of those young draft picks. You gotta try and develop some sort of balance. I mean, Greg Ward to be your quote unquote veteran in the receiver room, not really ideal. But I'm not sure. I'm just not sure what the direction would be. I mean, you just mentioned Fitzgerald, and I can't. I would get such a bad taste in my mouth if Alshon Jeffrey comes back. I can't.
Right.
I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to stomach that. After getting paid, you released him. You released him just to get that contract off of your plate. So it just, I don't know how much sense that makes at all.
And plus, we know Fitz knows his role, because he's already played his role in Arizona. He's already backed up Christian Kirk and Hopkins and helped them, and all these other young receivers. That we know what his mental game is about, and Fitzpatrick would be perfect to mentor these young guys. I mean, do you agree? Well, better than what Alshon would ever be.
Yeah, man. He'd be like one of the perfect guys to show these young players the ropes and how to be a professional on and off the football field, how to be an NFL wide receiver. So
exactly. I would love it, man. And what would you think he'd be worth? Probably like $2 million, easy.
Well,
because he's 38, right, or 37. He's old. I know that.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine that he would be worth a whole lot. I'm currently scrolling through Twitter here as we're talking, as well as seeing if there's anything else going on NBA related, and there isn't much. I've only seen 2 different things so far. So today has been pretty quiet. Today's been pretty quiet. So yeah, man. I mean, outside of those couple of things, I think we hit that sweet spot in the stream here to conclude the program on recapping the day 1 of NBA free agency, which was pretty wild in itself. And then day 2 did have its splash signings early, but going into the end of the night here, it has been pretty quiet. Smaller moves have been made. The Sixers ended up picking up 2 people finally. They got reports of maybe holding on to Ben Simmons. I'll pray for Sixers fans. I'll just say that I'll pray for Sixers fans, because that's just such a troll event in itself, man.
Dude, Mitch will lose his fucking mind.
Yeah, a lot of Sixers fans would. They definitely would. So the Mavs have made decent moves so far. The one thing that I can only hope is that they're not done. The last domino for me, for Dallas to have a good free agency, like to top it off, go get Goran Dragic. Just go get him. Don't let it linger on any longer than it has to. don't take the risk of somebody else wanting to pick him up. It doesn't seem that the Raptors have him in their future plans. He's on an option right now for about $19 million. Toronto's not going to buy him out. So I mean, just get a package together. Just get a package together that you think the Raptors might want based on what they did in free agency so far, and bring another guy. Bring another guy here that Luka would absolutely adore to play with. I mean, these two guys know each other so well. Luka's playing with his brother right now in Slovenia. For the Olympic team. He knows Goran. He's played with Goran before for his country as well. They have such a good chemistry together, and Goran is one of those guys that would have a JJ Barea effect on the Dallas Mavericks, where he is that veteran presence for anybody to look up to and to help them out in key situations and stuff like that. He would be that dependable veteran like we just got done talking about for the wide receiver room for the Eagles. I mean, it's the same principle. Yeah, Goran is 36 years old, but just 2 years ago he was one of the biggest determining factors, and one of the biggest factors of that Miami Heat squad that made it to the NBA Finals in the bubble. And you saw what happened early in that series when they lost Goran Dragic and Bam Adebayo was not 100%. Look what happened to the Miami Heat for what was left of them, and Jimmy Butler doing all that he could to still stay competitive when those two weren't exactly healthy. So that for me would be the biggest and last domino that I would hope to fall for Dallas. And now for Chicago, all you guys got to do is put the puzzle pieces together and see how it works.
Yeah, no, man, I am super stoked, for this team this year. It seems like like I said, we're going in the right direction. We're building a nice foundation. It seems like we got some pieces and some good ones. So, like I said, I think our weak spot is going to be defensively, but if we have a high power offense, we should be able to force teams into trying to outscore us, which would benefit us in a way, So, but all in all, man, I love the direction we're going, and it's just like you said, all we need to do now is just put it together.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the Eastern Conference is going to be, even more competitive than they were the last few years. There's going to be some more bloodbaths there, definitely.
Yeah.
Can't really say that for the West, other than the commonplace teams. Lakers are still going to be competitive. Maybe the Clippers are still going to be competitive with the Kawhi Leonard decision looming over them. Denver is going to be competitive again. The Grizzlies still might fight for that last playoff spot. We still have to see where the Pelicans are. I know I'm missing another team right now, but yeah, man. I mean, you get the point. So with that said, we lasted almost an hour and a half. I think it's a good cutoff here. We went through the key spots for both of our teams, and yeah, man. So I guess that's concluded. Like I said, we'll be back on Eagle stuff as well. We got a bunch to cover for our Birds before the regular season commences. Preseason's around the corner, so yeah, we got a lot of work to do. So speaking of that work, the Eagles Uncensored podcast is all about the Birds, and been putting that work in, man. So if you want other people to know and recognize that work, tell the folks where to find you.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you having me on, man. I think the last time we were on, it was whenever the NFL draft was going on. So, it's been a while. So it's an honor being on here again with you, and it's been a lot of fun. I enjoy talking with you. Yes, it is all about the Eagles on my channel, but I guess now, there's going to be a lot more Chicago Bulls stuff too. I'm going to try and start covering them a little more. So maybe I might have to come up with a new name here as well. You know, might have to get rid of Eagles Uncensored and go a different direction. But you know, don't forget though, at 200 subs, giving away a vintage Eagles blanket. So if you have not subscribed to me, please go ahead and do so. Don't miss out on that. Want to get that out to one lucky winner. And yeah, man, it's been an honor. I haven't talked basketball in a long time, and just feels good to get back in it a little bit. So I appreciate you having me on. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I guess I kind of broke you out of a bit of a comfort zone for a while. Touch back up on your favorite team in the NBA, and yeah, man, I love covering my Mavs, but it is a lot of work, and it'll just come down to how comfortable you're going to feel trying to cover two teams on your channel. So, but yeah,
no, it's gonna be it's gonna be fun.
I mean,
sorry, I was breaking up.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see. At least you got a support system in Birdman, a fellow a Bulls fan there. So
maybe I'll become the Tri-Town Eagle.
Yeah, there you go. So
or Chicago Town and Eagle,
or the Philly Bull.
There you go.
That's the first name that I thought off the top of my head. If you wanted to change, the Philly Bull podcast or whatever, if you want to keep podcasting the name, go Philly
Bulls Eagle.
Yeah, I guess in due time it'll be figured out. But
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I guess it's last minute entertainment there. But thank you to everyone that came out to to support the stream, and I appreciate the audience for me being able to provide entertainment. BPS shouts me out and says reached 15 likes on the stream. I think it's safe to say we kicked ass. Trying something different. I've been covering my Mavs for a while, but got you on here talking about your Chicago Bulls. It went pretty well. So maybe I struck something a little bit in you to cover your NBA team and get back into it. So we'll see later down the road. But yeah, man, it was a long time coming to get you on the channel, and I think we did a damn good job for NBA content. So, but that's not to leave out Eagles talk. We still gotta get into that one of these days, and yeah, I have a feeling that'll be coming up pretty soon as well. So yeah, that's gonna do it, ladies and gentlemen, for the Eagles Uncensored podcast. Joining me, this has been Lindy Endzone. You already know the deal.
Bulls, 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 Bulls.
For the Chicago Bulls and for the Dallas Mavs, MFFLs, our boy Luca for Slovenia. Hashtag slow on that. Fly Eagles fly, bleed green for my Eagles. MFFLs, you already know the deal. Like I said, go Mavs. Good luck to the Chicago Bulls and their newly developing Big Three as they have. For Lindy and AK here, y'all have a good night. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.